I gotta get my hair touching out of the way now because there's always some commenter who's like, you touch your hair too much. And what's wrong? You can relate to that.
I don't know, Emily. I mean, I'm 30 years old. I'm 30 years old, and I don't know what I want to do with my life. Gotta find my doorway to where...
Jeff, stop it. Stop making this moment about you.
Oh. Sorry. No, but that's the title of the episode.
Clearly, we're in the next era of musicals here.
Do we shock you?
These musicals.
Greetings, Broadway babies.
Hey, what's happening?
We are back to talk about episode 2 of Schmicago. Yes. And this is a very exciting episode, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Hi, I'm Jeff. I spent about 20 years in the musical theater biz, doing a lot of shows like the ones they're lampooning in Schmicago. So it's a lot of fun.
And I'm Emily, and I'm a musical theater multi-hyphenate actor theater person, and also a budding musical theater historian. And today we have a very special guest.
We do?
Yes, we do. I was lucky enough to hop on a Zoom call the other day with one of the cast members of Schmicago and Schmigadoon. You know her from Broadway shows like Avenue Q, 9 to 5, Cinderella, most recently the revival of Into the Woods. And of course, we all know her from the iconic TV show Smash. We are talking about the Anne Harada. So here she is, boys. Here she is, world. Here's Anne. Hi, Anne.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. First season, you played the mayor's wife, Florence Menlove, and now you're playing the hilariously named Madame Frau in season 2. These are really different characters. So what was it like making the switch from, let's say, mayor's beard to like borderline brothel madam?
Easy.
Yeah.
You know, I think what's so great about it, and like somebody asked me in Jaime this question too, like, do you have any say in, you know, your characters? Or no, of course not. Cinco makes it up and we go like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. I just think it's so great to be able to play such different types.
Yeah.
And that's sort of my jam. I'm a character person. I just want to play a lot of different kinds of people, and I've been given that opportunity, and you know, to be a part of Schmigadoon at all is like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. So people are like, well, she's Fraulein Schneider. I'm like, I don't really think I am.
I don't think you are either. I think you're
honestly, if I had to pick one of them, I'd be Fraulein Kost.
Yeah, she's definitely more that. I was even thinking like kind of those like middle-aged like brothel madam roles that kind of, for lack of a better term, that were kind of big at that time.
Any particular one person, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was even seeing like a little like matron Mama Morton in there too.
Yes, like I'm obviously some kind of like enabler for like the baddies, right?
Yeah.
And I do hang out with Jane a little bit later on.
Yeah.
So because like we're all under Krat's thumb, and we all, you know. I was also, because I'm German, I literally just pulled the Lily von Stupp accent out of Blazing Saddles and the Frau Blucher accent out of Young Frankenstein. Yeah, she's definitely like, I'm some sort of slightly suspect authority figure. I mean, I love playing good and I love playing bad, and I love the range of it, and I love this time period of musicals so much. Like, what's not to love? Pippin was my first Broadway musical that I ever saw. I was 12. I've never gotten over any of it, basically.
Yeah. So, she's going to be popping in throughout our Schmiganalysis to kind of give her input. But if you want to see the full, uncut, extended interview, make sure you are a patron at patreon.com/stealingfocus. Now, let's talk about episode 2 of Schmicago.
Doorway to where?
My doorway to where?
We start with a new credit sequence. We start with the old Schmigadoon Golden Age music playing, but then in plops our Schmicago
baby.
marquee.
It's grit,
Playing,
grimy,
yeah.
full of whiskey and other things.
Whiskey
that
and wine and women.
are unsavory.
And it's playing our new theme song, which is Welcome to Schmicago. This is another episode directed by Alice Matthias.
And written by Jonathan Tolan. Great job, pal.
And as always, we have songs by Cinco Paul and choreography by Chris Catelli.
What a team!
What a team. The musical influences of the episode are Stephen Schwartz again, Candor and Ebb yet again, but we get the first appearance of Marvin Hamlish and Edward Kleban, coming to that in a second, and our first official Stephen Sondheim.
What?
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about the musical numbers, but the specific musicals they are homaging in these numbers.
Pippin, Chorus Line, Chicago,
and Company. But before we get into breaking stuff down, let's check in with Anne Harada, and she can tell us a little bit about how Schmicago came together.
It was just so different in terms of like, we went to Vancouver to film it both times.
Mm-hmm.
And season 1, we were in COVID lockdown pretty much.
Yeah.
You get there and then you were stuck in your room for 2 weeks. You could not leave your room, and Canada just calls you randomly to make sure you're still there. You know what I mean? So like I literally like could not do anything. And I was so frustrated that we could not hang out and that we could not practice together really. So it felt very just, like it's hard to learn songs over Zoom. It's hard to like do stuff like that. And that's sort of where we were season 1. They play you a phrase and go like, sing that back to me. I'm like, this is not a way to learn a song.
Oh God. So are you saying that this season you guys got to interact like a lot more, maybe?
A little bit more. Yeah. I mean, there's still like huge categories of people I never saw on set because like our worlds just don't intermingle. Like in season 1, I never like, there was one time I got to walk by Aaron Tveit in a scene, but we never spoke. Our scenes just never matched up. Right.
Yeah.
This year, same. I just hung out with Cecily and Jaime pretty much the whole time. And Patrick Page.
Well, he's the Patrick Page is kind of the new addition this season. And what is it like having him come on to the season?
Oh, it was fantastic. I was so excited when I heard it was going to be him. And again, same problem in terms of like seeing people. He had to film Gilded Age season 2. Do you know what I mean? So it was sort of like he was going to come late. I didn't know when he was coming. Then we had to like push a lot of the filming back because some people got COVID, and it was just, it was just like a lot of like, when are we going to see everybody and when are we going to actually shoot this stuff? But Pat and I are friends. We live in the same building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Said, it's going to be Patrick Page. I was like, yeah, I was like,
you're like my neighbor.
Yeah.
So the reprise of Schmicago features once again our narrator, and we see Josh right away in the jail cell, full on pajamas,
striped pajamas,
and the hat. God,
yeah.
Keegan-Michael Key can wear a hat, can he? He's amazing.
And it's full of prisoners in the jail cell, and they're all kind of singing their own melancholy version of the ooze at the top of Welcome to Schmicago.
Yeah.
And our narrator comes in and talks directly to the audience, and it's pretty funny.
Pretty funny. Thinks that he might have done it, and he says, "Aren't you omniscient?" I mean, seriously.
But we do get Schmigadoon death penalty.
Nice.
Really funny. Titus Burgess.
I'm Titus. Thank you for going there. I didn't know for sure if you were going to with penalty.
Yeah.
But they at least used that take. Brilliant.
So we get a new character, Josh's cellmate.
Oh, my boy. Aaron Tveit. Yeah, so I got to do, I did Rent with Aaron Tveit years ago. He actually joined our tour as a replacement. Great guy, and we had obviously he had so much talent, and you could see where this was going.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun to follow his career.
And last season he played our kind of Billy Bigelow archetype, and this season he's playing a hippie named Topher.
Yes.
So he's playing kind of a familiar archetype from this era, the kind of boy ingenue, singing falsetto, kind of has good, it's kind of like the roles you used to play.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
He's a mix-up of Jesus from Godspell,
Claude
maybe
from Hair.
maybe a little Jesus from Jesus Christ Superstar as well,
little
Claude
bit.
from Hair,
Yeah.
and of course Pippin from
yes.
Pippin. So we meet Topher, and Sergeant Rivera, played by Jaime Camil, is throwing him in prison.
God, this guy, what's with this guy?
I know.
He's
and
so mean.
he's arrested for peddling parables with no clear takeaways.
Brilliant.
That's a Godspell reference,
Yeah.
because Godspell is all parables.
Yeah.
You were in Godspell.
I did it twice, actually.
Who were you?
I played Jesus both times in that show.
But Topher is full of love, man, peace and love, and he believes Josh when Josh says that he didn't kill Elsie Vale. He also agrees with all the other guys in the prison, and most notably, we get an appearance from Conrad Birdie from
Oh
Bye Bye
my
Birdie.
God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and Conrad. So Bye Bye Birdie came out in 1960. It is some of the first rock and roll pastiche on Broadway. It wasn't really like, it's not even really pastiche, it's parody, because the thing is, Broadway didn't really view rock and roll as like actual music. They saw it as kind of dumb, which is why a lot of those songs in Bye Bye Birdie, like One Last Kiss and Honestly Sincere, have like just really, really intentionally simple lyrics. Anyway, but Conrad Birdie is our Elvis archetype in Bye Bye Birdie. And it's just really funny that he's in prison because
pretty inappropriate stuff going on.
in the second act, he kind of tries to go to the ice house to make out with a teenager. And in Schmicago, he says, I didn't touch that girl. He says, I didn't touch that girl.
Of course you didn't.
Yeah, you did, Conrad. Ugh. So Topher's running gag is that he likes to kind of make every moment about him. And the first time he does that is with his big song, Doorway to Where.
Gotta find my doorway. Yeah.
Oh, this is about you now.
I love this parody of Corner of the
Yeah,
Sky.
so it's a 1-to-1 parallel to Corner of the Sky from 1972's Pippin.
Yeah, and Stephen Schwartz obviously is one of the best that we've ever had, but like it's so his early days, like late 70s with Pippin.
He does some funny stuff with
really
lyrics.
Yeah, they borderline on the nonsensical, like not really necessarily adding to the song, but they're pretty to listen to. It was a simple time in the 70s. I can attest. We didn't really need a lot of important
But
things.
you're 30, Jeff.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, I gotta rework this timeline.
Yeah, so Corner of the Sky, it's a really beautiful song, but it features some kind of interest. It's full of like something fits in somewhere, like something goes with something. I don't know where I belong. Cats fit on the windowsill, children fit in the snow.
Cats fit on the windowsill, children fit in the snow.
I feel like I don't fit in anywhere.
Rivers belong where they can ramble, I get that. Eagles belong where they can fly, I get that. And then gotta find my corner of the sky, which what is that actually mean?
It's what it makes you feel.
Yeah, exactly. And so this song kind of points out in kind of a loving way how kind of silly it is. So it's full of really great lyrics that, again, Tveit is just nailing.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
That are kind of facts, but they don't seem to really make sense.
Yeah,
like,
it's interesting. It's it's colloquial.
Kittens play with string. Squirrels find nuts in the forest.
Tables work best with a chair.
That is the moment where I was doubled over in laughter because Keegan-Michael Key's reaction to that is so funny.
A table works best with a chair.
Who is this guy called me? I gotta find my doorway to where?
Yeah.
Doorway to Where is so Corner of the Sky.
It's so funny.
It is so funny.
Like,
it is so funny.
I never realized, like, kind of how dumb some of those lyrics are until we have the pretty ones. I was like, wait a second, Corner of the Sky, what does that mean? That is so funny.
Children fit in the snow.
Yeah.
Table goes with a chair. I was just like, oh, wow, amazing.
I know boys are going to use this as an audition song, and I need them to not do it earnestly, okay?
Yeah.
Just be aware.
Well, hey, listen.
Well, you got to do it earnestly, but you got to get the joke, is what I'm saying, I guess.
Well, when I first moved to New York, it became clear, it was basically clear right away that you never sing Corner of the Sky for an audition. It's just off limits. It's one of those off limits songs.
Yeah, so now you can do Doorway to Where.
Do Doorway, yeah.
And of course, I called it before it even happened. He's singing the last few, Doorway to Where. I was like, he's going to falsetto flip at the end, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he did, just just like in Pippin. So
and also there's a little bit of an homage maybe to Joseph there singing an "I Want" song inside a jail cell.
Yeah.
Although in Joseph it's "Close Every Door." I guess that's the opposite of an "I Want" song. That's more of a
"Close every door."
I don't want this to happen.
Close every doorway to where? I hate Joseph. But Topher does promise Josh a seat on the happiness bus.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it might be metaphorical, it might not. I don't know.
So meanwhile, Melissa is trying to figure out a way to get her husband cleared of these murder charges. So she goes to a lawyer in town, Bobby Flanagan, attorney at law, who is...
Jane Krakowski.
Yes.
Yeah, she thinks Bobby Flanagan's gonna be a guy, but it's not. It's the Jane Krakowski.
Yes.
And she is playing kind of a Lady Billy Flynn type, pretty much exactly.
And she's amazing. She's amazing.
As always. So Melissa puts a down payment of $20 down.
I love this ongoing theme in both Schmigadoon and Schmicago where, our dollar bills and 20s go a long, long way in their world. They're always so impressed. I love that they kept that.
Yeah, it's
cool.
a good running gag.
Yep.
And again, something you see in older musicals.
Yeah.
So then Bobby kind of goes into this Roxy / almost Dance 10 Looks 3 monologue set to like dun 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 dun. The song most closely resembles Roxy, or rather like the intro to Roxy, where she's kind of talking to the audience and really building up the crowd, and all of her boys are like watching her. So she makes some direct references. She says law school was a world full of no, 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 which is kind of something that Roxy says in Chicago.
One big world full of no. I got me a world full of yes!
But then she says, but after a while I caught on, which is a really famous line from Dance 10 Looks 3. But after a while I caught on. I saw what they were hiring. Bum, 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 bum. She even does some of the Fosse slinky arms upstage.
Oh yeah, that's so great.
Which, I mean, that's in about 1 million Fosse dances, but the one that always comes to my mind is the Rich Man's Frug from Sweet Charity. Bobby also readjusts like a framed newspaper headline, and it says, "Prosecution frazzles, Bobby dazzles." So that's really close to razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe later in the season she has some kind of song that evokes razzle dazzle. Bobby advises Melissa to go for the standard play, which is get a job in the club, in the crack club as a dancer.
Auditions are in an hour.
And in order to kind of snoop around and find out who the real killer is.
Oh, God.
Standard play.
I just love this script.
Yeah. And this is when we get maybe the best sequence in the episode. This sequence is called I Need to Eat.
Yes.
And it is an homage to I Hope I Get It from a chorus line.
Yes.
There's also some At the Ballet and Music in the Mirror in the mix as well. Episode 2 was really awesome because you're basically filling the Zach role in this extended a chorus line parody sequence. So you have to tell me about that. This is like if Kit Kat Club girls were auditioning in a chorus line.
First of all, this is my favorite sequence in the whole season.
Yes.
It made me laugh so hard, and I ruined a ton of takes just by like laughing, and just because I was so conscious not only of being Zach, but of having to deliver kind of like the Debbie Allen speech in Fame.
Yes.
It was just
your stick,
like,
and
all these
my God.
voices were in my head, and I was like, I can't mess this up. It's too important. And it just made me laugh so hard. And having that big stick that I keep pounding made me feel like I was Madame Giry also, even though I know that's not the right era. But I just kept thinking like, oh, she has been well trained, Monsieur. I'm slamming my stick. And
so basically what's happening is Madame Frau is playing kind of the Zach from Chorus Line. She's got a big staff like a ballet instructor. Mr. Kratt and Sergeant Rivera are also there watching the auditions. And I should mention this is the first time on the show where we've gotten choreography that is not a Fosse pastiche.
Oh yeah,
it's Michael Bennett, baby.
Yes.
And they even started off with that iconic dance move that like every theater kid knows, but that thing. And just so you know, Michael Bennett and Bob Fosse hated each other because all of those guys hated each other because they were all jealous because Chorus Line came out in 1975. And guess what else came out in 1975? Chicago. And kind of any show going up against a Chorus Line wasn't gonna even come close. It's like Waitress came out the same year as Hamilton.
Right.
And you could be a really great show, but when it came to the Tony Awards that year, like, it was going to be all Hamilton. Like, that's what a Chorus Line was like. Right. So I do want to point that out because I want to let it be known this is not Fosse choreography. It's Michael Bennett.
And sometimes creatives are very competitive too.
Oh yeah, they were all like
Makes sense.
Bitchy high school girls. I loved it.
I also want to point out I love the lyric that the lyric is "I need to eat." Because that is essentially what it means. I hope I get it, you know?
My dinner last night was a candle.
Yeah. You know.
Again, it's kind of like
it's true to life.
These Kit Kat Club women living in this kind of like hard world, all auditioning like they're in a chorus line. Yeah. What are the dancers like in this show? Are there any returning ones from the previous season? Because they are so amazing. I just really love all of them. And Cinco really gives them a lot to do.
Oh yeah, they're very featured. The girl who in the clip has her leg that comes all the way across is the same girl who is Melissa's almost dream ballet double.
I thought that was her. Yeah. So we get I Hope I Get It. And then Madame Frau says, okay, you can dance, but that's not enough. I want to hear about your life. And then we get 3 girls who step forward, and it's so great.
It's not necessarily, you can't see this in any of the credits or anything, but in the script, they're called Carol, Kelly, and Priscilla.
Oh, that's great. The first girl is pretty straightforward. The second girl is clearly Liesl from The Sound of Music.
Oh, what
and it took
surprise.
me a couple viewings to realize it because I thought, so she says, my father was in the military, you know, the type with a whistle. And I just thought that was just a funny non sequitur line. Yeah. Like, it's like the kind of line you would hear in a musical like that where you're like, what does that mean? But then as she went on, she describes about how he used to make her and her brothers and sisters perform for his friends. And then one night she asked for champagne. And then a woman who had a royal title, Baroness Schrader, gave her the whole bottle of champagne.
And the rest, as they say.
And then she said, that's when I started class.
History.
I mean, that's what Cinco will do. He'll just throw in little jokes. And I feel like the difference between this season and last season is he's not afraid to kind of like go for it in terms of like throwing in all the theater kid jokes he possibly could or like thought of, or just was like, that would be fun. You know, let's make all the girls the orphans.
Oh God, that was so funny. I was dying. 2 episodes in, it's so dense already.
I know, right? Well, that's it. And I just feel like after season 1, he was like, oh hell, they can take it. You know, I mean, it's hard because that first season, nobody really knew if anybody was going to care or get it or, you know, respond at all. And this season, it was just like, we're all in. We're gonna put in every theater joke we can possibly get in there.
But those monologues are very much in line with At the Ballet, which is where 3 girls kind of go through and talk about how they started dancing and their kind of shitty home life. But then when it's Mel's turn, it becomes a Music in the Mirror parody because she says, God, I'm a doctor, doctors.
Don't pop the head. That's all I gotta say.
Don't pop the head, Cassie. I think it's the first moment where they sing, where Mel sings in Schmicago. And like the old saying about musical theater is that when the emotions are too big to speak, you sing. And when they're too big to sing, you dance. And so she kind of almost involuntarily just starts singing.
Yeah.
And lets the audience know and lets them know that she feels like she might not be enough. And of course, it wouldn't be a chorus line parody without those pulsating notes at the end and everyone holding up their headshot. Mel doesn't have a headshot, so she gets out her driver's license. I mean, she's really eager and ready to go.
It's a nice touch.
Yeah, so, oh man, just a great microcosm of a chorus line and lots of really funny jokes packed into really small amount of time.
And just another example of how well they can parody other shows while also telling their own story. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
That whole sequence. I mean, and the way that we slaved over that one in terms of trying to get all the jokes in this very short period of time. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember just like that counting to 6 in German part. before the ballet section.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, we had to like, you know, I mean, they were like, no, Anne, it's too much time. And I'd be like, but like all those kinds of jokes. Because like on the page, I remember like seeing it, and now it's, you know, you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4 in German. I'm like, no, anybody who's counting dancers in is going to count 5, 6, 7, 8 in German. And they were like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so we'll change that.
You know
but
it.
It's like, you know, we have to, because dancers aren't going to buy that. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, and you say basically the first, you know, the big iconic line, let's do the whole combination facing away 5, 6, 7, 8, but then in German.
Well,
so
that was another thing too, because obviously the line is, let's do the whole combination facing away from the mirror.
Yeah.
No mirror.
No mirror.
Let's do the whole combination facing away from the wall.
It works. It works.
It's very, very dumb, but I was like, I don't care. We're just going to follow this line of logic out.
Exactly. And I love the part where you're like, dancing is not enough. I want to hear about your stories, which is like, again, such a funny idea. You just allow it to happen in a chorus line. And it's just so funny to see it happening in this version.
Just the whole, everything about that whole sequence. It, you know, obviously, if you love a chorus line, you're going to get all that stuff. But even if you don't know it, it's still funny.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So we discovered that Sergeant Rivera is Krat's nephew. They just kind of dropped that in, and then Krat's immediately like, don't call me that, basically. So I wonder where that's going.
Against all odds, after the advice from Mr. Krat,
she says, are
Mel
you sure?
is picked. Mel is selected to be the new dancer. And she has a funny line where she's like, only one slot.
Yeah, that's just, you know, it's the nature of the biz, guys.
That's the nature of the biz.
Only one spot. So back at prison, we get back to Josh and Topher now has a puppet.
He has a little sock puppet with a little afro on it.
Yeah, he's
and
got
I
the
think
mini fro.
I was wondering if that was anything specific, but you have a theory.
Well, the second time I did Godspell, when we did All for the Best, the duet with the Judas character, we used these puppets, and it was really fun. I don't know, you know, obviously Godspell is done differently every time. People have the complete freedom to do whatever they want. So maybe there are.
So maybe there's like,
puppets.
yeah.
Or it could be something new for this show. Like, we don't know.
Let us know in the comments if you know. And Josh is visited by his new lawyer, Bobby Flanagan.
Oh my God.
And we get the song Here Comes Bobby, which all the prisoners are singing.
It's so fun. It's so cool that they have the prisoners singing that song, because they're hoping that she's going to get them out of there, you know? So it makes sense for them to sing with
Well,
her.
and what they're doing is they're doing a parody of a couple things. They're doing All I Care About.
Yep.
So it's definitely the girls at the beginning going, we want Billy, here comes Billy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the inversion of that.
Yep.
But then also a little Roxy in there.
Roxy.
You know, that kind of like lusting after her while she's kind of lording over her boys. The guys in the prison even sing, Here Comes Bobby, Bobby, Baby.
Oh.
Which I think is a sneaky little way to throw in a
Company reference.
lyric from Company.
Which you kind of have to if the character's name is Bobby.
Bobby, baby, Bobby, Bubby, Robbie. So,
Bobby Booby.
Yeah.
Not Booby.
Not Booby. No, Bubby. Bubby.
Bobby Booby. Really? Bobby baby, Bobby Booby, Bobby. No, you're still doing it.
She also says, is everybody here? Is everybody happy? Which is another reference to Billy Flynn in All I Care About. Is everybody here? Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
You hear that Jerry Orbach.
I was going to say, for some reason, I always hear Jerry Orbach singing that part.
Well, because he originated
Yeah, I
it.
guess it's true.
Is everybody here? Is everybody ready?
The scene is very reminiscent of Billy and Roxy's first scene in Chicago, where he's meeting her and kind of getting her story. Bobby tells Josh,
You know what the law is. It's all about flim flam, flapdoodle, and pizzazz.
Again, we're going to be getting the razzle dazzle anytime now. I just know it.
You learned that your first day at law school.
Yeah. And she tells Josh, get ready for your press conference. It's in an hour.
I love the spacing.
So Madame Frau gets Melissa all set up for rehearsal, and she tells her not to shave anything, and she gives her rouge for her knees.
Oh, that's right. So funny. She's like, really? Do my knees need contour?
Yeah.
And
then
that
Anne
reaction.
gives the best reaction. I brought this up to her, actually.
Oh, yeah?
My husband's favorite moment you had in episode 2 was when you told when you told Melissa to rouge her knees, and then she asks, "Do I need it?" and you gave the funniest reaction. You do this really knowing, like, like smile, and he specifically was like, "Ask her about that," because it was so funny. Did they actually do that? I guess they had to have.
I'm really so not sure. I keep trying to find references for it, like historically, and I've never found one that said, and in the 20s, women rouged their knees. When I read that line, it made me laugh so hard, and I just like couldn't wait, because I just feel like, again, that's such a stupid inside throwaway line, but if you get it, you really get it. That's how
But the rouged knees reference is from the opening lyrics of All That Jazz, which is the opening number in Schmicago. I'm gonna rouge my knees and roll my stockings down. Yeah, but later on, Melissa sees a girl doing it in the dressing room, and she goes, "Oh my God, that actually looks amazing."
The payoff is great. Of course, our girl Jenny takes Mel under her wing because she's the new dancer, and this is going to work out great for the investigation. And we get to see more Dove killing it as the Sally Bowles character.
Yeah, and I think they're hinting at something a little ominous with her, or something going on, because she kind of says a little too loud that Josh couldn't have killed. My chum Josh could not have killed him.
He's just too divine.
And she also has that line reading where she's like, "Nothing bad will ever happen again." Yeah. So I think we're hinting at something going on with Jenny Banks, but Melissa is going to be her new roommate. Josh is at his press conference, and he's given a script by Bobby, and they blame it all, the murder, on jazz and booze. And of course, all the reporters are like, of course, it was all jazz and liquor all the way.
This is how you do it.
Yeah, and which, again, that happens in Schmicago, and it's kind of playing on the fact that the reporters just love the sensation of it all. And there's even a jazz musician in the crowd who's like, "Oh man."
Come on.
Yeah. But Josh goes off script
funny.
and is like, "This is ridiculous. I pretend to like jazz like everybody else." And basically shoots himself in the foot.
Good line. And then the kids got the newspapers.
Yeah, we got a little newsy.
How did he print up that newspaper so fast?
Yeah, it was really cute. Little newsy kid. Josh, it looks like he's still going to be in jail, and they've been kind of setting up throughout the whole episode that they execute people via the electric chair.
There's a whole lot of electrocutions happening at this place for some reason.
Pretty frequently. So Josh is a little nervous now.
It's setting the tension a bit.
And this scene is kind of like the scene right before we both reached for the gun in Schmicago. They don't do the song, obviously, but that little sequence itself was a lot like that.
Yeah. And then Melissa comes to the prison to just gloat and...
Well, she's like, Josh, I'm so excited, I got the part.
Yeah. It's so funny that even though he's kind of in this literal life and death situation, that it really is kind of cool when you get a part. And it shouldn't be life or death, but somehow it kind of is a little bit. So I really loved her performance because she was just kind of casually like, sort of for the moment forgetting his situation and just so excited that she booked it.
Oh, Topher keeps trying to Pippin again too and going, "Wow, your relationship is so great. I wonder if I'm gonna." It's not about you, Topher. It's not about you, Topher.
And then he gives the little smile and back out of focus. You know, so funny.
Really good. Good work today.
God, Tivy, you're killing it, pal.
So we see Jenny's apartment. It's full of flowers. It'd be 1.8 in Park Slope. She puts on the gramophone, and we have a nice little Easter egg here. The gramophone is playing the song With All of Your Heart, which is what Ariana DeBose's kind of Marion the Librarian character, Emma, in season 1 sang with the kids.
Right.
So it's
I didn't even catch
that. So yeah, that's kind of playing in the background with a kind of cool old-timey underscoring.
Deep cut. So Sergeant Rivera comes back. Got a bunch of flowers, and it's because...
It's because Krat is courting Jenny.
Of course he is.
And Sergeant Rivera even gives like kind of a little minor threat to Melissa. Says don't stick your nose in where it doesn't belong.
It's this guy. I don't really like him, you know?
Yeah. Well, Anne was saying that she and Patrick Page and Jaime Camille are kind of like the bad guy contingent in the show.
I'm in the bad guy contingent. We're not really that bad.
I mean, we'll see.
Octavius Pratt is terrible, but the rest of us have obviously are not all bad. I mean, you can't tell me yet, but I turn out to be not all bad, and Jaime turns out to be not all bad.
Okay, good. I was hoping. I had a feeling that might be the case.
Yeah, I thought you might.
I really love when Jenny tells Mel that she realizes what this all looks like, but she's just doing what she has to do to survive.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's a big part of what the Sally Bowles character is in Cabaret. I mean, it's a wonderful story, so dramatic, such a difficult time in the world in Berlin at that time, and here's this seemingly surface like flippant flibbertigibbet, but really she's probably the smartest person in the room because she's aware of the situation and living within those confines. She's going to have as much fun as she can.
Yeah.
I always loved that about Sally Bowles, and I love that they added that to this character.
Well, and you loved,
Oh yeah, she's like, all I ever wanted to do was be famous.
Star.
Yeah, or be a star. She does 3 takes. I mean, come on.
Funny. It's so funny.
Brilliant.
And we end the episode with our first Sondheim homage, at least in how the song sounds, not really in the performance. It's the song Bustin' Out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's basically You Could Drive a Person Crazy from Company.
Yeah.
It starts with the familiar do-do-do-do-do-do-do's. 3-part harmony.
Wonderful
it's Ariana,
trio.
Cecily, and Dove.
Yeah.
And they're in kind of cutesy showgirl kind of prison uniforms.
Yeah, and then they're chained. Their legs are
chained.
Ankles are chained together.
Ariana had exploded, and I was like, are we even going to get her? Are we even going to be able to see her at all this season? And she still managed to like come in. I swear to God, she might have been there 3 days, 4 days, and she knocked off like all these huge numbers. But I was literally like, are we gonna get her? Are we gonna, because she was just so crazy. Her schedule is so nuts now.
Let's see. The show was going down in like summer 2021, the first season, and then right after that was when West Side Story came out. So
we filmed it like fall 2020. But even then, when we were in Vancouver, she was doing photo shoots and people were sending her like clothes to like try on for events and stuff. Like she had a whole nother career going on top of trying to do Schmigadoon.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, well, this girl is obviously, I won't be able to get her on the phone quite so easily after this happens. And then it all blew up.
Wow.
Right.
So it's a Sondheim parody musically, but the performance is very much in line with how Cabaret works. We talked about that the last episode, the idea that in Cabaret, the sequences in the Kit Kat Club comment on what's going on in the real world, and that's literally what's happening. They're singing a song called Bustin' Out, and as at the same time at the prison,
Topher comes through. Suddenly the wall kind of pulls back, or like they smash the wall open somehow.
How did the wall get smashed open?
The happiness bus.
It's a literal bus.
You had to know it was going to be a literal bus.
So,
and he goes, come on, man, there's a seat waiting for you. I love this guy.
The tribe is all there to welcome him in.
There.
And our narrator is there too. And we get another Pippin reference because he says, think about your life, Josh.
Pippin.
Which is from the closing number of Pippin, where the leading player keeps saying, think about your life, Pippin, and trying to convince him to light himself on fire. So, stakes aren't that high. But Josh decides to go bustin' out.
Yeah.
And he goes with the tribe on the happiness bus. There's also an instrumental break in the song where there's like a dance break, and it sounds exactly like this piano progression from the overture to Schmicago. If you've seen Schmicago, it starts with that wah, 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 and then someone goes 5, 6, 7, 8, bum, bum, ba, bum. Anyway, I'll play it here. And then at the end of the song, we go back to a direct Company reference. There's no glamour in the slammer, so I'm busting out.
And what is that in?
Bobby is my hobby, and I'm giving it up.
Okay.
The number was a hit, and Mel is a star now, so she gets a new dressing room, and Madame Frau takes her to Elsie's old dressing room. Her body is still got like the tape outline on the floor.
Oh, right. So she's snooping around, trying to dig up some clues, and she comes across
a notebook.
An address.
17 Quick Street, 11 a.m. every Sunday. Now, I am guessing that Quick Street is a play on Fleet Street.
Certain famous barber.
Yes, Sweeney
might have
Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. That's where he lives. Fleet and Quick are synonyms. They kind of sound the same. So Quick Street. And we also have still not met Alan Cumming and Kristen Chenoweth as our Sweeney and Mrs. Lovett archetypes yet. So I have a feeling that's where we're going. And Anne did have something really cool to say about episode 3. We should be excited.
I think you guys are going to be so blown away in episode 3 that I don't think anybody's really going to come back from it for a while.
Oh, okay.
Episode 3 basically just loads it up and gives you so much.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no one's going to recover from that for the rest of the series. Jane has a huge number. And then you haven't even met Alan and Kristen yet.
I know. Like, we just had their little introduction of them, and we know it's coming, and it's going to be good.
Is. And boy, when it gets there, I don't even know. It's like, it's so good. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's so good. Yeah. And then Jaime and I have a duet in episode 5 that is sort of, again, does not really drive plot so much. Mm-hmm. But it's totally an homage to a composer we haven't touched yet.
Ooh, okay. So Mel's in her dressing room. She's got an address. She's got a lead. Meanwhile, Josh...
He's on the happiness bus, man. They're cruising.
And they're all singing Doorway
My
to Where.
Doorway to Where.
And our narrator is on the bus, though, and he kind of gives us one last look.
I just love this look from Titus. It's
he's
kind of like a look
with the hippies.
It's a bit of a look that we might all give, at a certain point.
Hey,
but he's trapped on this bus.
Yeah, I went to UC Santa Cruz. I get it.
Yeah, I get it. Also, I'm kind of curious where they're gonna go with this bus thing, because they could end up doing a superstar thing, maybe a fake out superstar thing, or it could be a Godspell thing.
I have a feeling once they go to where the tribe is, it's going to be a big mishmash of hair and Godspell.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing.
Cool.
With maybe some Jesus Christ Superstar in there as well. But that's what I'm thinking, because those are two very similar shows in a lot of ways, even though they're not about the same subject matter. It still is kind of like a bunch of like teenage hippies all kind of hanging out and singing kind of rock style music. It's going to be fun to find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine yourself being me, like the last person to be cast in season 1. Just the opportunity to work with like all of these amazing theater stars and legends. All that kind of awe and amazement that I had in season 1 dealing with them, I have even more now in season 2. Because it's like we're all the same kind of creatures, we're all like theater yahoos. We get every joke, and we love it, and we're excited about it and everything. I just feel like this is an opportunity to just show everybody kind of like the fun that it is, the fun that Broadway is, and the fun that theater people have with each other. And just the enjoyment of, like, I watch your videos religiously. I feel like theater nerds have to stick together.
Aw, yeah.
Like, we're the group that's gonna get this show so hard. We just have to keep showing the world that like people do really care, and it's important, and it's cool. It's a great world to be a part of. And I'm hopeful that Schmigadoon will spread that gospel around. Because I want there to be more seasons.
Me too. I want to see it go into the 80s mega musicals.
Going, you know what I mean? I think I was willing to write as many songs as he would have to write to do another season. But like, to me, I'm like, why not? Let's just keep going till we run out of time.
Yeah, if you get all the way up to now, you just backtrack to the 20s or something. Yeah.
These are like the best people in the business, and they are going to show. They're going to show you why, basically.
Well, and the whole cast just gets it. Like, they all just get that it's all funny, but like, it's not, you got to love it to make fun of it. And everyone is on that page, it seems like.
Yeah, nobody takes themselves too seriously. Everybody's extremely cool. Mm-hmm. They're like basically just what you'd kind of dream they would be in real life.
So thank you so much to Anne Harada for being our special guest for this week's episode I've been a big fan of yours for a long time, so it was really nice of you to do that.
And only.
Yeah, I'm always happy when she pops up in anything.
Yeah.
And Schmigadoon and Schmicago is no exception. So thank you so much for that. And I can't wait to see what Madame Frau has in store.
Yeah, thank you for doing what you're doing. I think it's awesome.
No, thanks.
You know, it's great that people care. Like, I know that we're all very encouraged every time I see somebody like, I have a video about Schmigadoon. I'm like, great, somebody gives a shit. It's amazing.
I know. There's a few of us out there who do this, so I'm happy to be in that community.
That's the content I'm interested in, frankly.
Good. I'm making content for Ann Harada and Ann Harada
That's
only.
right.
That's it.
Really
the end.
all you
Full
need to
stop.
do.
Yeah, so after they drop episode 3, we're going to come back and discuss it further.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. It's just a lot of fun to just watch the show and then kind of think about it and the way you kind of deconstruct and break it down. It's a lot of fun because there's a lot of things that I miss that Emily gets. So thanks for sharing.
And make sure you're subscribed so that you always stay up to date on our Schmigadoon Schmiganalyses. Smell you later!
I said smell you later.
Chilla, do you know the combination?
I knew it when I was with Brent.
A 5, 6, 7, 8!